Good afternoon, my YouTube viewers. It's Crystal here. I wanted to give you another code review. This code review is code that I personally have made myself, and it's called COVID-19, EDA, UK, and Hong Kong. So that's an exploratory data analysis that we're working on. And the reason why is because Hong Kong is in its fifth wave of the coronavirus. And I thought it would be a good idea to have a look at that. So what we used the data set, the coronavirus data set from Our World in Data. And that is saved onto a GitHub repository, and we used that to analyze the UK and Hong Kong's coronavirus statistics. So I wrote this program in Google Colab, which is a free online Jupyter notebook hosted by Google, and the first two libraries that I imported to execute this program were pandas as PD and NumPy as NP. And then what I did was I read the file in, so I used pandas, so df equals pd dot read csv, and then you had the repository in GitHub where the file estate is located, so I put that in there. So this is the entire file. It's got almost 1.7 million rows in it, so it's just getting bigger and bigger as this pandemic goes on. So we're looking at the file, we're checking the info of the file, so you can find out there's lots of floats and a few objects. It says unit test is an object. And then what we did was we timestamped the date, because this is going to be producing time series data, and because of that we need to timestamp the date. We check info again, and you can see the date is now a date time. We wanted to see all the countries that are represented in this data set. So what I did was I created a list called country equals df location dot to list. And then what I did was I created an empty set underscore country equals set. And then when I created the empty set, I said for I in country, set country add I. And the thing about sets is sets will only include unique, they will only include values in the set once. So let's say you got Singapore 200 times in that data frame. Well, the set will only include Singapore once. So for every country that is represented in the data frame, you may have 200 or 300 incidents of that country, because the data frame is updated daily. And so if you don't exclude all of the other countries, then what you might have is 300 Singapores or 300 Samoas. So in order to keep that from happening, we use a set. But there is a way that you can do it with a list as well, and I have done it with a list in the past. So you can see that there are 239 countries represented in this list, but here you've got world, and world isn't a country. So what you would have to do in long term, which I have done on another data set, is you would have to filter out world, and you would have to filter out the continents and things like that. But we're not doing that for this code review, and the reason why is because we're only going to be analyzing Hong Kong. But if you take out the world and the continents, then you may only have something like 225 countries represented, something close to that figure. So now what we're going to do is a graphical representation of new cases, and you can see that North America has the most new cases, followed by Europe and then Asia. And I think one of the reasons why is because they do more testing. So if you do more testing, you're going to have more new cases. And then so now we're going to look at the deaths associated with the coronavirus. So it's Asia, North America, and South America are pretty much the three leaders. And so those are having the most deaths associated with this virus. So now what we do is we make a heat map, and you can see the heat map, and the heat map tells you how all of the different features correlate with each other. And in addition to that, what I can do there is, come over here, we can check here. There's another way that you can check your correlation. So this checks your correlation, and then so you can see how all the different features correlate with each other. So what we'll do is we'll do a correlation on Pearson, and there's another type of correlation that you can do on Kindle, but I'll have to research that. I'm not going to research it right now. I'll have to research that. So I think that's a DF. If it's not a DF, we'll soon find out. So what we'll do is we'll run it again, and then what you'll see is you'll actually see how all of the different columns correlate to each other. But what I will have to do, I will have to look up this correlation at some point, but it's to do with statistics. But so here you can see here how all of the different columns correlate. If you were interested in that, it tells you how to do that. And I will look up correlation to find out more about that. So we also have the UK, so we filtered out the UK, so we want to see the UK, and we filtered out Hong Kong because we want to see Hong Kong. So this is the UK, so you can see that the UK has had 1, 2, 3, 4 surges. The UK's had 4 surges, and we're still in the middle of another surge, but they still done away with the restrictions. And these are your deaths, the UK deaths. These are the deaths associated with the 4 surges. And I think the reason why, because in the UK they rolled out the vaccine, and we're all supposed to have 3 vaccines. And as a result of that, there's not as many deaths. And so what they did was they just halted the isolation restrictions. But I think that had a lot to do with things going on in the government. There were things going on about the Tory government having parties during lockdown, and a lot of people are really upset about that. And so they just said we don't have any more COVID restrictions. But if we have another surge and people start dying again, you never know, they may have some more COVID restrictions. So this is a ratio of female smokers to male smokers. So you have more male smokers than you do female smokers. This is Hong Kong. This is their new cases per million. And as you can see, in the past, Hong Kong didn't have very much COVID, but now this is the 5th wave of COVID, and you can actually see how the number of cases have just skyrocketed. And a lot of that to do is with the fact that people didn't get the vaccines and people in care homes didn't get the vaccines. And because Hong Kong is a small country, a small island country where all the people are packed together, if one person in a family gets COVID, then everybody's going to get COVID, more than likely. And then so that is one of the reasons why they're having their 5th spike, but it's to do with the fact that people didn't get the vaccines. So these are the deaths. Not only do you have like a lot more new cases, you have a lot more new deaths as well. So the ratio of male to female smokers, they didn't have that information. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to compare the new cases between Hong Kong and the UK. So the UK is in blue, and you can see that they had their 4th spike right here. And then this is the 5th spike in Hong Kong. And you can see that the 5th spike in Hong Kong is a lot more than the 4th spike in the UK. But a lot of that spike is to do with, as I said, the people weren't getting vaccinated. And a lot of it is also to do with Omicron, because Omicron is much more contagious than the other variants of the disease. So we also have the new deaths. And as you can see, a lot more people are dying from the virus in Hong Kong than they are in the UK. And this is to do with the fact that they haven't been getting the vaccines, and then it's pretty much too late to get the vaccine now, because if you get the coronavirus, you're supposed to wait a certain amount of time before you can get the vaccine. You can't just get the vaccine right away. But having said that, I do know someone who's a young person. He's a young adult, and he got coronavirus, and then he went and got the vaccine right away, which he shouldn't have done. He should have waited, because he should have gotten medical advice, and when he went to get the vaccine, he should have told them that he had recently had coronavirus. And I think they would have told him to wait, because you're not supposed to get the vaccine right after you've had the coronavirus. You're supposed to wait and let your body build up an immunity. If you don't wait and allow your body to build up an immunity, then what will happen is you can get sick. And then I have actually heard of instances of watching people on YouTube who actually did have the vaccine right after they got coronavirus and they got sick. So it's always important to get medical advice. And if you have had the coronavirus, to be sure and tell the people at the vaccination center that you recently had the coronavirus and follow their advice. So now we're going to look at the median age in Hong Kong. That's 45 as opposed to 41 in the UK. So people in Hong Kong are older than they are in the UK. We're going to look at the GDP per capita, that's gross domestic product, and the GDP per capita in Hong Kong is, well, about 15,000 more than it is in the UK. So that implies that the people in Hong Kong have a much better standard of living. But having said that, from what I understand, Hong Kong doesn't have a social system. And so because it doesn't have a social system, what they do is they rely upon their family to take care of them. Whereas that's different in the UK, because the UK has a social system. And then here is extreme poverty, Hong Kong versus UK. They have the UK, they have the extreme poverty is 0.2, but they don't have statistics for Hong Kong. Checking cardiovascular disease, they have poverty in the UK is 122. Sorry, cardiovascular death rate in the UK is 122, but they don't have those statistics for Hong Kong. So now we check diabetes. So diabetes in the UK is higher than, diabetes in Hong Kong is higher than the diabetes in the UK. And that's surprising because the age of the people in UK is higher than the age of the people, the age of the people in Hong Kong is higher than the age of the people in the UK. So maybe because the age of the people in Hong Kong is higher than the age of the people in UK, that might be a reason why they can getting diabetes, because you've got something called geriatric diabetes, and if these older people are getting geriatric diabetes because they're older, then that might be the reason why you have more people in Hong Kong with diabetes than you do the UK. So now we look at female smokers. We don't have statistics for Hong Kong. We look at male smokers. We don't have statistics for Hong Kong. We have hospital beds per 1,000. We don't have statistics for Hong Kong. Life expectancy. Life expectancy in Hong Kong is 85, whereas it's 81.5 in the UK. So in Hong Kong, it's an older population than it is in the UK, and that could be a reason why more people have diabetes, because you've got this geriatric diabetes, and then generally people tend to get diabetes when they're older anyway. So since the people in Hong Kong are older, their life expectancy is higher than the people in the UK. That could be a reason for the high incidence of diabetes. And now we get to the Human Development Index. The Human Development Index in the Hong Kong is higher than it is in the UK, which is surprising really, because from what I understand, Hong Kong doesn't have a social system. They rely on their family to take care of them. So if you don't have a family, you're pretty much stuck. But nevertheless, the Human Development Index in Hong Kong is higher than it is in the UK. So that concludes this code review of this exploratory data analysis between the UK and Hong Kong. And I showed you the visualization of the statistics of the UK and Hong Kong. And then I have put a little bit of my opinion into it as to why I believe that the cases of the coronavirus are higher in the fifth wave in the UK than in Hong Kong than they are in the UK. But I also have watched some YouTube videos on the subject, and then I read some newspaper articles on my phone on the subject, and that's why I know that the people in the care homes are not being vaccinated. And if one person gets coronavirus because they all live in close proximity to each other, then for the most part, the entire family is going to go down with the coronavirus as well. So I did actually read some newspaper articles to support my exploratory data analysis. So I hope you've got some meaning out of this this exploratory data analysis and this code review, and I'm going to be making a blog post, and I will be putting the YouTube video that I've made in the blog post. So thank you so much for watching my video. I would like to thank the people that support my channel, and if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and I look forward to making more videos, more code reviews for you in the future.